Hello and welcome to another video by Spacehead 1AU. Today we're going to be looking at my election predictions for the 2020 presidential election. We're going to start off by filling in the safe states for each party. For the Republicans, these states have been steadily voting Republican for a while now, and there's almost no chance that they're going to be flipping anytime soon. For Nebraska, you can see that they have split electoral votes. So I'm going to give the first 4 electoral votes of Nebraska to the Republicans. But since that 3rd district had actually voted for Obama before, I'm going to leave it as a swing vote. Texas, there's been talks of Texas turning blue in 2020. I do not see that happen. Based on voting trends and statistics, Texas is almost going to definitely stay a safe Republican state. And Alaska as well. For the Democrats, they have a good control of the West Coast and the Northeast, which is generally where most of the safe states are located. Filling them in now, as well as Illinois, New York, Vermont, and Hawaii. There have been discussions that New Mexico is a swing state, but I'm actually going to give New Mexico right off the bat to the Democrats, in addition to the 1st district of Maine. Now, these are swing states, or at least are battleground states, all the states that have a chance to flip. Let's start off with Nevada. Nevada is very interesting because even though it voted Democrat in 2016, there's a good chance that it could vote red in 2020. But even with all this talk, I'm just going to leave Nevada blank for now and move on to Arizona. I'm going to call Arizona for the Republicans for multiple reasons. Even though Arizona has been becoming more and more Democrat and will likely vote blue in 2024, I still think that there's enough Republicans who will vote in Arizona that will keep it red. Colorado voted blue last year, and even though it has been sworn red, I'm still going to see that Colorado stays blue in 2020. That 3rd district of Nebraska, most likely, even though Obama won it over, the main Democrat nominee, Biden, he doesn't have the same charisma as Obama. So I'm going to go ahead and call that 3rd district for the Republicans. Now let's move on to Iowa and Minnesota. Iowa, right off the bat, is most likely going to go Republican, just based off of statistics. Minnesota is a very interesting case. Minnesota has been voting steadily Democrat since 1972. This is something that very few states or D.C. can claim. Now, Minnesota, even though the Democrats have, for the past over 40 years, considered a safe state, it has become more and more conservative over time, which is why I'm going to right now call Minnesota for the Republicans. Wisconsin and Michigan. Michigan, even though it voted for Donald Trump in 2016, I do not see Michigan voting for him again. I'm going to call Michigan for the Democrats because it's most likely that they're going to have a good advantage in Michigan and will win it over. Wisconsin, on the other hand, seems to be very pro-Trump and will most likely re-elect him in 2020. Let's move on to Ohio and Pennsylvania. Now, Ohio has almost always determined the elections. Out of 30 of the most recent elections, the president that Ohio voted for has won 28 out of 30. That is great numbers. I'm going to go ahead right now and I'm going to call Ohio for President Trump. He has been showing good campaigning here, and he's been doing a great job with Ohio and the Rust Belt. So I'm going to call Ohio and also Pennsylvania for Trump. Now, moving on, we have New Hampshire and these 2 districts of Maine. New Hampshire, even though it is a swing state, I do not see going well. I can see New Hampshire voting safely Democrat in 2020. The 1st district of Maine is most likely also going to vote Democrat, as it has in the past. And even though the 2nd district can swing, I'm going to see it vote Democrat as well. Now let's move on to our southeastern states: Virginia, North Carolina, Georgia, and Florida. Virginia, even though it has turned red past 2000, I'm still going to go ahead and call it for the Democrats. It seems like they're going to have a good win in Virginia, and they're going to secure it. For North Carolina, even though it is a very tight swing state and can decide elections, I'm going to go ahead and call it for the Republicans. Trump has been doing a good job in North Carolina, like he has been in Ohio, and even though his approval ratings aren't necessarily the highest, approval ratings are not equivalent to re-election ratings. So that's why I'm calling North Carolina for President Trump. Georgia and Florida. Now, Georgia is something very interesting. It has Atlanta and the Atlanta airport. Atlanta airport is the busiest international airport in the world. And Atlanta itself is a huge metropolis, which, due to the fact that the Atlanta metropolitan area accounts for a good chunk of Georgia's population, I still see Georgia going red. Now, the reason I bring this up because metropolitan areas tend to vote blue. States with lots of big cities, California, New York, Massachusetts, they're all voting blue. Urban people tend to be more Democratic than those in, let's say, a rural state like North Dakota or South Dakota. Now we're moving on to Florida. Florida is a very interesting political state. If you remember back in 2000 when Al Gore was fighting George W. Bush, it all came down to Florida. And I'm going to go ahead and call Florida for Donald Trump. We now see Donald Trump with a strong 299 electoral votes, which will secure him the election. So yes, I am thinking that Donald Trump will win the 2020 election. But remember, we still have one last state, Nevada. Now, Nevada isn't going to decide this election, but with voting trends, it's going to be a very close state. It can go either way. We can see it go Republican or we can see it go Democrat. But in the end, I think that Nevada is going to vote Republican. So this is the map that I think we will end up with in 2020. It's very similar to the one that we see in 2016, except for Nevada, Minnesota, and Michigan, and that one district in Maine. Thank you for watching this video by Spaced1AU. Please like and subscribe, and as always, stay safe and stay healthy.